Good evening and welcome to the Day After podcast, an extension of the YouTube channel The Jestour, where today we're going to try our hand at something a little less structurally sound and a little more clumsy.
I thought you liked this one because I had a narrative.
No. We've never done a reality TV show before.
That's fair.
Ahead of tonight's premiere of Survivor 40, Winners at War, I had my wife sat down and watch start to finish the 10th anniversary season Survivor Heroes versus Villains.
Yes, which was 20 seasons ago.
Which was 20 seasons ago, 10 years ago. This premiered when I graduated high school.
Oh, okay.
Just a heads up, if you'd like, later at the end of the video, we are going to draft teams for Survivor 40. But now I want to get...
I didn't know that was happening.
Oh, shit. Well, I'm ready.
Surprise, husband.
Here we go. So one thing that I do... one of the phrase that sticks to me is the website's no longer up, but a guy who does rankings of seasons, he called this Survivor's WrestleMania.
What the hell does that mean?
What it means is it's a combination. It's almost like a fantasy style interaction of all the most famous people.
Okay.
That you had from the first 10 years.
I'm gonna take us in the audience back a little bit because, as I was discussing with John before we went into this, we've never really talked about your history with Survivor. So you want to give us a little background? Me personally, my parents watched it. I still don't watch it. I watch it for him.
You sit in the room with me.
Yes.
Here's my earliest memory of Survivor is Richard Hatch winning. I remember laying in my mom's bed at, I want to say, holy shit, 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And watching Richard Hatch win by one vote. My mom going, holy shit, what the fuck? Naked guy. But that's my mom for you. I remember that really vividly because it was a cultural touchstone. It was insane how popular it was.
Right.
People from that season showed up in Eminem music videos. You can watch one of their sex tapes. Richard Hatch went to jail for 51 months.
And before memes were a thing, Survivor memed itself. Like it was everywhere. It was parodied on Who's Line. It was parodied on cartoons. It was parodied everywhere.
It was
a cultural phenomenon.
Yes. It is when you think about reality television, that is the one.
And you've been following religiously Survivor since...
Well, here's the thing, is that I kind of fell away from it because I was a 10-year-old, and then I thought about, here's Survivor. What? There's a cool game going on. What's going to happen? Like, oh yeah, that starts tonight, by the way. What season is it? Oh, Pearl Islands. So we turn on the TV, it's about to start, so we wait for Wheel of Fortune to start, and all of a sudden, pirate ship across the ocean.
Right on. Okay.
And from that, I was hooked. I've been watching every season since.
Every season since Pearl Islands. Okay. I just want to give people some background because John really loves this, to the point where Milo and I made jokes about him every time he brought Survivor up in casual conversation in college.
Yeah, to the point where I had to have a code word that says, stop talking for a little bit. Here's what I love is that I love getting the opinion of somebody fresh, because we did not start dating until after this season aired later in 2000.
Right.
So it was really wild on day one for all these people to show up on the island. I'm like, oh, it's them. Let me explain that reaction. John, I have no fucking idea who any of these people are. What the fuck?
I remember distinctly what this season reminded me of. Your excitement to show me this season is when that they had another All-Stars. Well, yeah, another All-Star. So they had a bunch of people come back, and you're like, oh my god, it's that person. Oh my god, it's that person.
It was probably second chances. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably about 5 years ago. Yeah, that I lost my mind.
And I'm very whatever about Survivor. Again, when you're married, you watch stuff your spouse likes. This is okay. I liked Australia a lot better.
Yes, I knew you would like Australia because I know what you look for in a season, but we'll get to that distinction here in a bit.
Okay.
Very nice cast. 19 really good people, and Candace. We'll get to that in a second. It's so difficult to explain to somebody why this season is great. I'm like, here's why this moment is important later, because so much of this is derived through lines, things that become important subtly, but you don't know that they're majorly important until later.
I guess.
We were talking. I guess we'll start with Russell. Fucking Jesus.
Okay, so I was hoping we would start there because here's my thing with Russell Hantz. I had heard from John and the internet, I have heard that this guy was the literal embodiment of Satan. And I watched the season where his nephew was on. I don't remember what season
Brandon
that was.
Hantz, yeah.
But Brandon was just a nutcase, and so I expected Russell to be like this absolute just horrible schizophrenic Satan, and what he was a very good liar.
So if I can elaborate, one thing this season did have a problem with is fatigue on several characters. Russell mainly. Russell showed up in 19, 20, this one, and 22. So we were able to get bored of him really fast.
You do this thing, by the way, where you refer to the seasons both by their numbers and by their titles, so just please pick one.
Okay. He was in Samoa, he would go on to be in Heroes Villains, and then he would go on to be in Redemption Island. And by Redemption Island, people were sick of him.
And people hated Redemption Island anyway.
That's a whole different thing. People were sick of Amanda. People were sick of James. People were sick of Parvati because we had already seen them. This is the third time seeing them in 3 days, or in 2.5 years. Yeah. But I talked. Well, and the other. Let's talk about the other person that we've had to like. I was not ready for my wife to have this season-long vitriol. And
okay, here's my issue with Parvati.
With Parvati Shallow.
Here's my issue with Parvati Shallow. Number one, her last name fits her perfectly. Number two,
people have made that joke, but continue.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything ground baping because it's fucking Survivor.
Yeah. I just want your opinions.
I don't like. I think she is a great player. I think in this season she was a great player. She did all the things that she said she did in Tribal Council. I really think she brought it all to the table. I don't like her as a person. And as a concept. And while I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. The only thing I can use to explain it is I hate playing the freaking girl card, but John, you were never a girl in high school. You did not meet the Parvatis of the world. You did not meet everybody who batted their eyelashes, showed their horse teeth, and got their way. And that's what she did the entire fucking season. She either pitter-pattered along after Russell, or I mean, and again, she was good in challenges. She made sure not to get on too many people's bad sides, but she's just such the token, social butterfly. I don't know. She was everything I hated about a high school girl.
Okay, well, here is where I provide some context. Parvati first premiered in Survivor Cook Islands, which aired in 2006, where she played a very one-dimensional flirt.
Yeah.
She went out at 6th place. Very just one-note character.
Okay.
They brought her back for Fans versus Favorites. I think maybe because somebody dropped out.
Okay.
And she happened to get in a good groove where she was nowhere near the target she was in the season we just watched.
Because she wasn't fucking everything that moved?
Okay, careful. But, and by that time, season 16 Fans versus Favorites had turned her into this big-ass threat that everybody is talking about, and you get 5 confessionals in 2 episodes about everybody saying the same phrase,
which you hadn't realized until I pointed that out.
You pointed it out. I'm having a light bulb going off moment. Is that over the course of an episode, you get 5 people saying the following confessional. Parvati's got everybody wrapped around their finger, but not me.
Yeah, and literally 5 different people say that. The heroes were gunning for her for the beginning.
Yes.
And I just. I can see what you mean about Parvati fatigue. I had Parvati to fatigue by like episode 5.
Yes,
she's annoying.
The mistake I made was the first season that I made my wife watch was Fans versus Favorites, which she happened to win.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. And it's interesting that you have a very visceral reaction to that.
Yeah. I don't like Parvati. I think she's a great player. I think she's fine for Survivor, but I don't like Survivor.
That's fair.
Well, and I have issues with the show as a whole. But I don't know that this is the time or the place.
That's
to do
for
that.
Another thesis. If I can defend this Satan Russell mythology you have going on, here's the thing. Russell played in Samoa, which was filmed, finished filming, and then 10 days later they said, "Do you want to come back for Heroes Villains?" And he did it. So when you saw his footage in Samoa, you're like, "Wow, he's fat." That's because he's been there for
he'd been on the Survivor diet
for like 2 months.
Yeah.
You can see him get a little cracked out near the end because of course he's been here 2 months.
Right.
But the added side effect is twofold. Number one, he replaced Shane Powers, which God bless you, come back sometime, please. I love you. 2, no one on this cast knew why he had come back. They just knew that he was on the villain tribe for some reason.
Okay.
Which creates number one people's problem is that he created a sort of game imbalance where some people were not aware of his status. Everybody else had a chance to watch everybody else play.
And okay, no, I disagree with that wholeheartedly, because in a season where you're constantly like, oh, she should be on the heroes tribe, he should be on the villains tribe, this person isn't playing the game the way they used to, and that was Ceri's whole argument at the end. I didn't play the game way I was last time. The way you played the game last time can have no effect on how you played it this time.
Yes, and people can play differently. See James, Candace, other examples, but people assumed, but they didn't know what kind of a scorched earth player he was going to be.
And again, I just thought he was a very good liar, and people jumped on his bandwagon and got burned.
So he is a good liar. The thing is,
he's a stupid liar. He's a good liar.
You have just watched Russell's game in Samoa. He played exactly the same way. He attaches himself to a couple of young girls.
Why make that caveat?
No. That's actually, this is a legit thing that he does. Find two what he calls dumb girls and take them to the end.
Okay.
And in Samoa,
and then lose.
He lost to that dumb girl.
Yeah, and then he did here
and then
again.
Here he lost to partially that dumb girl. He got no votes. Parvati got 3.
Yeah.
To the point where, and this is going to be a complex Doc Brown timeline. Samoa gets filmed, HVV gets filmed, and then Samoa's finale, where they find out who wins Samoa. When he found out he lost Samoa, there's a tin foil hat conspiracy where he went, oh shit, if I lose this season, I lose next season because I played the same goddamn way.
Oh.
To the point where there's a very awkward scene in the reunion.
Oh, he didn't find out he lost until after. Okay.
Yeah, so he filmed both seasons and then he found out that he lost them both.
Okay.
So to the point where there's a very awkward scene in the Samoa reunion where he offers Natalie, the winner, $100,000 just for the title.
What the fuck, dude?
And that is where I think the most, it's more of a statement of purpose, or more of it's the principle of the matter, is that this man appears to have a very fundamental lack of understanding of how the jury works. And it got worse in Heroes Villains because he made a statement that, like, I lost twice, but you know what? The audience should have a say in who wins.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
When?
In the reunion for this season, we did not watch.
Oh, okay.
But he's a little bit of a sore boy.
Again, to me, Russell wasn't from the second I met you, from the second we agreed to start watching Survivor together, from the second I looked at Brandon Hantz and going, why the fuck is everybody staring at him like he has 5 horns on his head? I had heard that Russell was this absolute demon, and watching him here, I was like, no, he's just a liar and stupid.
If I can give
like, he's stupid.
If I can give you some credit, when I first told you about the Russell mythos, it was on the heels of the subreddit not knowing how to feel about him. The subreddit is pretty clearly anti-Russell now.
Yeah.
But back then it was like a civil war in the fan base. It was a lot of people disagreeing about him 10 years ago.
Okay.
Now we kind of accept that he's not as savvy as we think he is.
He thinks he is.
Yeah, so my opinion of this satanic character has much weakened. I do respect how, like, savvy he is. He's way too much a showboater for me. So
you were on team anti-Russell.
Yes.
when I met you.
Yeah.
It's part of why it was so visceral. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked enough about these two characters we hate. Let's talk about people we like. I love Coach.
Yeah. Oh my God. Gee, Coach. Okay. We're not going to go over 20 characters. Here's the people that we're thinking about right now.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, is that in a world full of Coltons and Debbies and fucking some other people I blocked from my brain, I've learned to hate people that are like weird fucking weirdos hogging the limelight.
And weird for the sake of being weird.
But I've seen how bad it can get in Colton and Debbie. And looking back at Coach, I used to hate Coach also. But he's such a genuine guy. He's full of shit.
He is full of shit. No. And that's what I love about him. He is balls to the walls insane in the best way. And I fucking love it. Because he is absolutely unapologetic about who he is.
So he's a weird he said it in his Fallen Heroes walk. I love to hate me, hate to love me, hate to hate me, like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I can respect that he's a very polarizing character.
I promise this is not too big a tangent. The number one thing I hate about Survivor is the stupid social metagame. If it was about surviving, I would like it a lot more. But no, this game is constantly about, let's go back to high school and talk about each other. What I love about Coach, never sacrificed who he was.
And well, he and Rupert share
fucked
that
up quite often.
Yes.
But
he did. He played the game his way, which was really nice. One thing I absolutely loved about this season was over the course of the season, it is a very fluid change from classic Survivor to modern Survivor.
Yeah, which modern Survivor is what I don't like.
And even the most modern this season gets, with the double idol play at the jury, that is nowhere near the metagame we're at now.
Right.
That's any game. You get used to the rules, you get good at it, you have to invent new layers of duplicity that weren't there in the past.
And the game of Survivor does keep changing. I mean, you watch a season of Survivor today. I mean, go watch the premiere coming up either tomorrow or in a few days. First thing everybody does, guarantee you, is go look for an idol.
That's
the first thing they do.
Yeah, they didn't introduce clues to the idols until episode 4 or 5.
And what blew me away about this season was Rob's confessional, where he's like, "Everybody's going out to look for a hidden immunity idol." No idea what that is.
that was so funny, because half the cast is not aware. I don't know what the exact percentage is. Half the cast is not aware of what the fuck that is and how it works.
Right, and Rob was very open about it. He's like, I'm playing with people who are more well-versed in this game now than I am.
That problem is going to get even worse with Winners at War, but right now, yeah, to the point where it was really cool to watch Rob and a few other people just reject it outright. Rob and Sandra were basically like, if you go out looking for it, I'm going to be out for you.
Right, yeah. I really admire that, and it from being inundated with all of the baggage that comes with modern Survivor, to have those classic players come here. That's why Rob and Sandra were some of my favorite players to watch.
Yes, because both of those players, Rob and Sandra, were born in the old school. They would come back to play in modern seasons, so they span the gamut.
Right, and I think that's part of why I hate Parvati. Is another big thing of today is be on nobody's bad side. If somebody pisses another person off, it is an absolute like holy crazy, probably 2-hour episode. Let's film this feud, not make a season out of it, but let's film this feud.
Salt acknowledged.
But like with today, you don't see that. It's I can't piss this person off, because even if they go all the way to the end, if they're on a jury, we're already thinking about the jury day one.
They are thinking way too much about the jury, which leads me to another thing that I really love about this, and I feel like I'm in the minority as a Survivor fan, is that I feel like the pre-merge gets shafted. One thing I love about this is they do not merge until episode 10. And I know
no frame of reference.
You literally don't care. We're at the point now, we merge with 10. We're at the point now where we're merging at 13 out of an 18-person cast. That's ridiculous.
3 more people makes that much of a difference.
No, pre-merge, it feels like anymore is just a way to mentally break up the cast so that the audience doesn't get confused. I want that to be more of the game, and maybe it's a weird hill for Survivor me to die on.
The tribal loyalty thing was present here, and it was overbearing in Australia, which was season 2. If I talk about Australia, that's season 2.
Yeah.
The only other one I've seen and really liked.
Yeah.
Today there's no tribal loyalty. Everybody is on the tribe is thinking about people they like on the other tribe. And or dislike.
So there was a certain degree of loyalty, and if I can make a weird tangent, back to Cook Islands, which was the weird one that really caused some waves and made Survivor lose a lot of sponsorships because the tribes were divided by race. Now here's the thing, this is really super interesting. They had a tribe of whites, Hispanics, Asians, and blacks, to be politically incorrect for the sake of time. Mm-hmm. And knowing that they were split by race, they actively avoided stereotypes.
Oh.
To the point where, like, Yule is on season 40, and he was friends on this tribe with a guy named Cowboy, the first person to suggest flushing the idol, by the way. And Cowboy would not stop making Asian jokes, which I guess are okay for him to make, Asian privilege or whatever. But Yule and the other tribe mates were very uncomfortable with the fact that he was making jokes like that. And so people were actively avoiding their own stereotype. And when they set out to make season 20, the landmark season, they didn't intend for HVV to be the theme. But they kept finding the people we want back are known for their qualities that fall into one of two groups. That goes on to this theme of overarching narratives, these people are.
Okay. So
go ahead.
Just to break up the talking for a little bit. You mentioned this is a season of lines where things aren't important right away, but boy, do they become important later. Example.
Okay, I have a few examples. Colby.
Well, maybe just pick one.
Okay. This entire season is a thesis entitled "Why Russell Fucked the Game Up." Like, why Russell played a textbook awful post-merge. And it's less awful and funny now because I can kind of see where he was going. But
how is that a line that starts from the beginning of the season to the end of the season?
Well, even back then he was less so. Here it's in the 9 episodes, the hero tribal councils are all clustered together, and the villain tribal councils are mostly clustered together.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to see how.
It's almost like all the heroes are gone at the end of the game, and the villains have to start turning on each other. So interesting how that happens.
The heroes, there's a point in like the 3rd tribal council or something where Jeff gets snippy with Rupert. Is like, yeah, I know that you're like loyal to the point where you won't vote out people who are causing you to lose challenges. No, I won't. I'm loyal to a fault. But you fucking keep coming back here. Like he sassed them for being heroic to a fault.
Yeah.
Where later in the game, you would sass people for being villains, like lying for no reason.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that neither is present, even though the Final Four was 4 villains, it wasn't a distinction on the fact that villainy is better.
No.
Just that villainy has its own problems, and that problem is Russell. But the point is, it didn't make a normative claim. Like, if a hero wins, heroism is better.
No.
It wasn't that. It was just let's see what happens.
Yeah, and that's every Survivor season, though.
Yes.
And to me, it was like, what I like about Survivor is when I don't like early game because these stupid fucking gimmicks get in the way of. Because that's what it was at the beginning. It was like, oh, the heroes are dumb because they're going to be loyal to a fault. We villains are doing better, but not because we win in challenges or we have stronger people, but because we're not afraid to get our hands dirty. And by the end, it's like, no, Parvati, Sandra was very loyal to a fault. I was loyal to a fault. Very heroic, as was Parvati. Russell was an idiot, which was a trait we were going up with the heroes. It all comes down to... It's a label erasing game as it goes through, which is why I will always like post merge better than pre.
But the post merge is important because you set up these hero and villain mentalities, and you could make the case for at least 2 people that they should not have been a hero or should not have been a villain. Case number 1, Rupert has said to Sandra in FTC, "I really appreciate that you opened the door multiple times for me.
Mm-hmm.
We shoved it in your face, but I appreciate that."
Okay.
On the other hand...
So you're saying Sandra should be on the hero side?
Well, that's a case that she has heroic tendencies. Okay. But the case is that most of these people have both sides.
Right.
And that you can't...
And that's what I don't like about early game is that we're forcing these labels to make tribes.
Well, it gets worse. This is one of the more fluid ones, like Millennials versus Gen X.
Yeah, that one sucked, as did Brains, Bond, and Beauty, whatever that was.
That, God bless, I'm so lucky that turned out to be a good season. Otherwise, that's... Oh, shit. As a challenge enthusiast, I really respected that a lot of these challenges that often weren't shot well in the beginning came back.
Yeah, the challenges were fine.
They did. They were really solid. I like that with a long pre-merge, you have very good Disc 1 bosses, like Rob. Rob was not supposed to leave that early. Friggin' Sari was not supposed to leave that early.
Disc 1 boss is not a good descriptor for those people.
But it's big players that surprise. I don't want to say mini Red Wedding, but it's like shocking. Like they weren't supposed to go out in that fashion.
Yeah, they didn't think those people would go out that early, and the people who stayed were the people who play strategically.
Yeah,
I'm more trying to play devil's advocate than shit on this, but to me, This, because I'm not well versed in Survivor, this seemed like every Survivor season ever.
Yes, and I think that is where context becomes important.
Right.
And
to somebody like me who's not familiar with these people, I really like seeing these people because they were very good at what they did.
Yes.
But I didn't have any connection to them. I built that connection over the season, and the people that stood out were the people I was drawn to.
Yes. So my wife has seen Fans versus Favorites 1, and she told me what she did and didn't like about that. And based on that, she likes the survival aspect, so I took her way back to Australia. And
Which
she said,
awesome.
That was really good. It's super fun. It's way less cutthroat than it is now.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of, like, early production weirdness.
Yeah, and it has problems, but I much enjoy the earlier seasons. But I do say you did hit the nail on the head. This is a great transition from early Survivor to late Survivor.
Yes, and it's so weird watching this in the dead middle of the series runtime.
Right, and I think it'll be really, really interesting in season 40 to see how that to how those past players and present players, if they're gonna adapt or die, or if they're gonna change the game on its head.
Yeah, that's
and I
super
think that's
weird.
really interesting.
And if you don't, go ahead.
No, go.
No. I was gonna closing thoughts, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, before we close out, you said one thing that I told you earlier I was gonna ask you to defend. Just
please do. Please ask me.
The final tribal council you said was an absolute great little thesis for the entirety of Survivor up to that point. Kind of like a tale of Survivor as it should be.
The season, excuse me.
Oh.
It's Russell slowly finding out he fucked up bad.
Okay, so the tale of Survivor is told on one person?
No. The tale of the thesis is entitled How Russell Fucked Up.
Oh, okay.
So it's him slowly learning just how much he really graded people.
And like, again, I don't think Russell's a bad person. I think he, again, from expecting somebody who is going to come out literally like spitting in people's faces and shouting "fuck you" every which way.
I apologize for my biases leading you to think that.
No, he made dumb decisions that he thought were smart at the time, and they bit him in the face. That happens with lots of people.
Yes, he was especially vitriolic at the time because we'll get into it later. There's a sliding scale of villainy in this show. Mm-hmm. So Richard Hatch, who was just like naked all the time, to more villainous people. Russell is the new incarnation. It goes Richard, Johnny Fairplay, Russell Hantz, Colton Cumbie. Who's
Johnny Fairplay, she died, dude?
Yeah, she is. She died, dude. Can we just, as an aside, let's explain.
We've done enough asides. We should do closing thoughts after this.
Okay, never mind.
No. I mean, we can talk about Johnny Fairplay.
Here's a reenactment about how we found out about, how my wife found out about Johnny Fairplay's dead grandmother. I am on the Survivor subreddit just doing my own thing, and my wife goes...
Okay, so I was on the Survivor subreddit trying to figure out why John was freaking out. And on the sidebar panel is this picture of two guys and just the tagline, "She died, dude."
Johnny Fairplay and Thunder Dan.
And so I'm like, what the hell? And so I turned to John and I showed him this picture. I'm like, what the hell is "She died, dude"?
Oh, that's
and he
"She died, dude."
Laughing.
You don't know what "She died, dude" is?
And I'm like, what is this like a meme? Like,
yeah, oh my god, it's the best meme.
He's like, we're gonna find out about "She died, dude."
Oh my god, and it was really lackluster for you, but at the time it was so fucking funny.
Yeah, so Johnny Fairplay, or which one? Thunder Dan?
Johnny Fairplay and his friend Thunder Down. But okay, end of story. Closing thoughts on this season. I really enjoyed it. It holds up. It is about the same opinion I had. One complaint: the 2-hour premiere, very flabby. Mm-hmm. I understand that you really like all these people and you want people to stay to like get as much of them as you can.
It's especially flabby for people like me who didn't know these people.
But 90 minutes would have been perfect.
So, part of me wants to knee-jerk, because I've seen this on the subreddit before. If you really like Survivor, you should... God damn it, Tyson's coming back.
Sorry. Continue your thought. I'll be right here.
Everybody's like, this is a great, like... That's what I was trying to argue with John earlier, is like, this is a great intro to Survivor.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Well, no, okay, not intro to Survivor, but like, this is what what the show really, really stands for, and this is, and I'm like... It's not really, I mean, the people in it are really interesting if you like, it's a very social thing. It's not, I have all the problems with this season that I have with every Survivor. I had a good time. Not as good as Australia, way better than some of the other fucking shit I've seen, like Blood versus Water, Suck My Ass.
If I can make one recommendation, go visit Peridium's video on the top 5 seasons you should show beginners.
Or just go watch Australia and China.
China coming up next year. But that has been Heroes versus Villains. We are now going to segue into something I've been thinking about for a while, and
what's wrong with Wendell's head? Sorry.
That's his hair. We're now going to transition into a draft pick for Winners at War. I think that the only rules that we should have is, number 1, because I am a fan and you are not, you should get first pick.
Rob.
Well, hang on.
Rob.
And I think that in order to do this, we should each have 5 women and 5 men.
Rob.
So let's start with the women.
Rob.
Okay, so you've taken Rob, which was one of my picks. So eat my ass. You seem pretty confident in Rob.
Yes.
Okay.
I like him.
He's a very nice guy. I'm going to take Adam, because even though I know he kind of overplays his hand, like, he's a very sweet guy. His mom died the first time he played, which is not like a character trait. Your dead mom is not a character trait, but I liked him. It was fun to watch. He's not a good pick, but I'm excited about it. So we'll continue with your first female pick.
I'm gonna go with Rob's wife, whichever one that is.
Amber?
I don't know whichever one that is.
Amber. Any distinction for choosing Rob and his wife?
Rob likes his wife.
They had 4 kids. They have to like each other's wife.
Okay, so I accept. It was kind of it was true draft style. I accept that both of them aren't probably going to the final tribal. So if I bet on one, I'm more likely to win. Okay,
I apologize for this. I am gonna take Sandra because I have a very you saw it coming. Like,
I was debating picking her so you can have her, but
you took Rob, so fuck you. Now, if you need
Tony,
you gonna think about it?
Nope.
Okay, shit. I am gonna take, and let me explain. And I apologize for all the people who have been dealing with that really stupid fucking Yule meme that I can't stop laughing at. But he played in Cook Islands, aired in 2005. Very smart player. He went on to have a job in the CIA. He's a very astute, very logical, political player. And I want to see how well he does, because he hasn't done with all this extra fire token bullshit. Sorry.
Okay, so I don't know much about the girls that are left, besides fucking Sarah.
You may ask questions, I mean.
What's Natalie like? She seems fun. I'll go with Natalie.
She won the second Blood versus Water.
She seems fun.
Okay.
You're gonna make me. It's gonna come to the end, and you're gonna fucking make me pick between Parvati and Sarah, and I hate you.
Let's find out. Maybe we don't know. I am going to take. Oh shit! I'm gonna take Danny. Misspelled here, but that's okay. I'm gonna take Danny because I've been waiting for a Guatemalan to come back, and she did a really good job in like a very bland, basic season, which makes me very happy.
I remember you really. Number one, he's cute. I remember you being really excited about Ethan, and I don't remember why.
He has not. He played in season 3, which aired in Africa, which aired in 2002 or 2001, and then he played in All Stars, which aired in 2004. He hasn't played since.
Oh, okay.
So he is the very definition of, oh, they're going to look for an idol. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, and I like old school players, so I'll go with Ethan.
Oh, that's a good choice. Okay. Ethan is a recent survivor of Hodgkin's lymphoma.
That's right.
So like
that was the other thing I remember.
Yeah, so like good for him. I mean,
yeah,
he seems like a genuine guy. He established what's called Grassroots Soccer, which is a charity foundation which helps impoverished youth get into sports.
You know, I'm not gonna remember who's on my team, right?
Yep, I'll make a list. I hate to do this. Give me Wendell, and for the shallow reason that he reminds me of Childish Gambino, but everybody's already made that joke. And he's also a really nice, fun butterfly, and he had that whole thing where he didn't. Never mind. I'm being excited. Not a lot of choices left.
What's Kim like?
Kim?
Yeah.
Kim played in One World, which is universally regarded as a very bad season.
Oh yeah.
She did the thing that you don't like, which is at the first day, she and 4 other girls got together and stayed together pretty much the entire time. But she did win the season.
I'll take Sophie. Simply because you called her a weirdo, and that's me.
She's a little weirdo, but she's just like kind of dorky, but she is fun. I just remember one like sassy thing that she said in Final Immunity Challenge, but that's not to be held accountable. I could see where this is going with the females, and I apologize.
I know where it's going, and I hate you.
Here's the thing is, I want Sarah so unbadly I'm almost willing to take Parv just
That's
so I
fine,
don't have Sarah.
I would rather have Sarah over Parvati.
Okay. Well,
if I have to pick one.
I don't really want Sarah, so given that it's going to come down to that,
you might as well just get out of the way.
I'm going to take Parv.
Okay. My turn for a boy.
She sounds like an Italian food. All right, we got 4 boys left.
What's Nick? What's he did?
He won David versus Goliath. He's a good old boy. Oh shit! The reaction kind of soured you.
Tyson, go to hell. Jeremy or Ben then?
Well, Ben is the
Ben's fuzzy.
Ben's the veteran who won. He got a lot of characterization. People don't like him because he found 3 idols in the last 4 episodes.
Oh.
Jeremy played a very good game, but there's one line in the final tribal council where he was like, by the way, my wife is pregnant, and that rubbed me the wrong way.
Nope, I give it to Ben then.
Interesting. The fan base would go against you, but that's why we have a rookie.
Stop. Pause. First,
go ahead. I'm thinking.
Every time I ask you about these people, the first thing you tell me is the fan base's opinion. Not what they did, not what accomplishments they had. Well, the fans don't like him because he did this.
Give me... Oh, shit. Here's the thing, is that Tyson did bad, and then he did worse, and then he won. I have huge recency bias on Nick. Go ahead and give me Jeremy. I don't know how to feel about it, but there's not a ton of good people left. Well, that's wrong. They're all very nice, beautiful people.
I think I'll go with Denise because I like it when
Damn it!
Who's the older lady that played last time in 39?
Elaine, Janet.
Yeah, and I really like. I mean, Denise is not Janet, but
yeah, but she didn't have a whole bunch of moral quandaries to come up about.
Right.
Which of these 2 do you want more? I'm taking. Never mind. I'm gonna take Michelle because she doesn't get enough love in the fan community, and I really, really like that season. Anyway. You have your choice now. It's Nick or Tyson.
Well, I mean, that's obvious.
Tyson, right?
False.
But he's a good old boy. Something about Tyson rubs my wife so wrong.
It's not his quirky sarcasm. Fine, whatever. Be a high school boy your entire life. What I hate is that he lords himself above everyone while he does so. It's like, and I actually have similar issues with Coach in that he says I'm loyal to a fault. That's the number one thing I do, except when I need to vote this way.
All right, and to round it out, your choices are Sarah.
I'm gonna make you stuck with Sarah.
Fuck you. I tried to be nice. Nice.
Fuck.
I tried to be nice, and you fucked me.
Fuck. You could have picked whoever you wanted. You're
since
it's gonna come down to that, I'll just go with.
I tried to be nice, and you betrayed me.
Nope.
Fuck off.
Nope.
God damn it.
Nope.
Which means Sarah Lucina, cop turned criminal.
Watch her win.
No, fuck off. If she wins the second time, I'm gonna be so pissed. And
do you think these people are watching this go, wow, you guys have really hard opinions about people you've never met?
You're all great people. I just like that we have like biases and prejudices against people we will never meet. But guys, tune in later tonight for Worlds at War when one of us is gonna really be a sassy boy or girl, or a sassy boy or just a wife.
We're gonna have a sassy boy, and I'll probably be on my computer.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for participating in this.
Yeah.
We'll be back later
Yeah.
for more non-Survivor content.